whenever nations have gone into chaos because of the corruption that Robert talked about in governments, it's always dangerous because you never know what ideology is going to take root. You know, it's like he says in the Arab countries right now could very well turn Taliban.
Right.
And so we never know. Unfortunately, I don't see anything in history that says that people were able to make that transition without tremendous amounts of pain. And if we would wake up, we could. And that's why one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about the Rich Dad mission and your mission to raise the financial IQ of everybody on the planet. That's the solution. When people see it differently and know what it is, then they will make different decisions. They will demand different accountability from their leaders. Our leaders are there because we put them there. They have the welfare mindset because we told them that's what we wanted. We voted for them because that's what they would give us. Until we turn around and say, I individually am willing to pay a price. I understand that we're going down a course we can't sustain. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to tighten my belt. I'm willing to pay a price. I'm willing to educate myself. I'm willing to become more entrepreneurial. I'm willing to take a greater risk because I want my country and my town and my family to be safe and productive. That's when it'll turn, when enough of us do that.
Well, I don't think most people will.
They won't, Robert, until there's no other alternative. It's what you're saying about the SWAT meets.
Well, they become entrepreneurs anyway. They become thieves.
Those are entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they are.
But even then, something might awaken inside them. Yeah, drug dealers are entrepreneurs, aren't
But
they?
I think you're right, though. It's going to take that amount of pain
Just remember here what
for
I
a lot of
said.
people to wake up.
There's a traditional economy. We're in a recession. There's depression. There's one more level below that, and that's collapse.
Chaos. Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going. And then people say, why do you live in Arizona? Well, for two reasons. One reason is eviction laws. We families is now 20 times.
Wow.
It's never been bigger in history. Also, that the upper 1% now makes 20% of the money in the United States. It used to be only like 8% or 10%.
Wow.
So the gap between rich and poor and the middle class is being crushed. So all of these things you cannot change by government decree. And America is no longer the most powerful nation in the world. And the other thing, we have the web now. You know, Facebook and all that have more powerful than the president. And if you think rioting, Americans say, well, it's England that's rioting, it won't happen in America.
Already has.
I think it could. So with that, I'd rather be vigilant, be attuned, be a global citizen, look for domiciles that are favorable to producers and unfavorable to people who don't produce. This country is swinging more and more with the tax to rich. They want to reward non-producers.
Right.
This is not good. So guys like us will leave. So I think that's kind of the realm we're teetering on right now. Hopefully it'll go another direction. But somebody says, well, that's so pessimistic. I said, look, today you've got to be an optimist and a pessimist. It makes you a realist. And I'm just being a realist right now and saying, well, if that happens, I have my machine guns. And I do have machine guns. So, we've never been here. It's the most violent markets I've ever seen. I've never seen anything this precarious in my entire lifetime. You guys ever seen anything like this?
No.
What amazes me is we still haven't seen the inflation yet.
Well, we see it in other areas. It's in gold and then in
In a few commodities, but just across the board.
We've actually seen, what's interesting to me is we have the idea of inflation is what we're seeing is smaller amounts of the same products at the same price. So it's still inflation. Yeah. I just call it sizeflation because the size is going down, the price is staying the same. Yeah. And it's been across the board. We did some research on this, and across the board over the last year, it's been about 20% of that kind of inflation.
Yeah, but there's another reason there's no inflation is we have China. I mean, the reason America's in such bad shape, and you look back on history, in 1933, right, FDR took us off the gold standard.
No, he made it illegal.
He made it illegal.
Until, I think it's 32 or 33.
Then he could print as much money as he wanted, but he didn't print enough. Then in 1944, they put us back on the gold standard, and then the economy took off. But there was something else that happened in 1944, was that Italy, Germany, England, and Japan were bombed to shit. America had factories back in 1944.
Yeah.
This depression, we don't have factories. That's the difference.
Yeah.